Hello and welcome to The Gaggle, where we challenge and, if necessary, destroy media narratives. I'm George Samuely. With me today, of course, is co-founder of The Gaggle, Peter Lavelle, host also of RT's talk show, Crosstalk. Well, Peter, the other day, President Putin has signed into law decreeing that only Russian-made sparkling wine is to carry the name Shampanskaya, which is, of course, Russian for champagne. Anything else, whether it's the actual real deal champagne made in Champagne, which is worldwide recognized, the only sparkling wine that has the right to be called champagne. Anything else will not have the right to be called Champansky or champagne. This is obviously to the French champagne producers a real insult. I mean, because they have been fighting for years.
All around the world.
All around the world, that no one who produces sparkling wine has the temerity to call it champagne, because only the sparkling wine produced in the Champagne region of France has the right to be called champagne, just like cognac can only be cognac if it's made in cognac. Now, I'm a big fan of sparkling wines, and I have to say, you know the difference when you drink champagne. I mean, this is a classy product. I mean, so, whether you like cava or whatever, that's a classy product. But I do think it's very interesting what the Russians have done. And it's a sign of how foolish the sanctions policy is. Because you keep putting these sanctions on the Russians, and they're saying, okay, fine. We're just going to call what we produce champagne, and we're not going to call what you produce champagne. What are you going to do about it? And so the champagne producers are fuming and ranting and raving, and they're demanding that the EU do something about it. But it's not clear that the EU can do very much about it, because if they impose more sanctions, next, the Russians are going to say, we're not going to call this cognac either. Cognac was what we produce here.
It's interesting is because the champagne producers, their conglomerate, their words open publicly to Russia is looking for clarification. We need to engage in dialogue. But then when it's to the French government, I won't even use the language. It's like, what are you doing for us? Okay?
Right.
I mean, they're very, very different messages at this point right now. Okay,
yes.
But I mean, the karma is a bitch, George, isn't it? Yep. It's a bitch, isn't it? Okay. Right. Yep. So, we're not going to export our cheese to Russia. Well, thank you. Thank you for not Thank you for not exporting it to Russia. You know why? Because now Russian cheese, it's okay. Okay. It's not like Italian. It's not like Swiss. It's not like Dutch, but it's getting there. Right. It's getting there. Okay. And Sovietsky Shampanskaya, well, it works, okay.
But it's not the same thing. I mean, as the real deal. But the point,
and also, the Russian government's going to protect Russian producers, okay? Yes. I mean, it's what everybody does, okay? You protect your own producers here. But your point about the sanctions, okay, fine. I mean, it can work both ways, okay? And it's painful, and you know what? Maybe it's not even really necessary, but we have to stop this, okay? The message being sent here is that there are tools in our toolkit as well. Right. And if you start going down this path, we can tango with you all the way down, okay? Right. Yeah. And even though I think it's kind of a bizarre move, because I know how the champagne producers in France are so aggressive around the world, okay? But, it's basically, we're going to do it because we can do it, okay? And you can't do things with impunity, because there will be a cost for you.
Yeah, that's it. It's kind of a strange phenomenon of thinking that, well, we can impose sanctions on whomever we want, but they're not allowed to retaliate. But that's the whole point about sanctions. You impose them, and then they say, okay, well, we will retaliate. And we will do it in a way that is painful, because this is painful. For the French, it means a whole lot that this name, this brand name, famous throughout the world, champagne, and then it's a unique it's a big because it's produced in this locale, and they've been doing it, I think, since the 13th, 14th century. Some fantastic.
There are very few brands. There are very few brands of that caliber in the world.
Right.
Very few.
Right. I mean, it's always just amazing. I mean, when you go to these families who produce the champagne, and they say, "Oh yeah, we've been doing it since the 15th century." You think the same family's been doing it 15th century. All these things that have happened since then, all the Louis the 14th, the Revolution, the Poland, everything. They're still families still producing this same champagne. Yeah, this really hits them. This is such an insult to them. And so they go to Macron. And at least Macron has been trying to improve things with Russia, but the EU has said no. I mean, no summit, no.
Yeah, I mean,
improved relations. We're going to work on developing some new sanctions. We've got some new sanctions in the works.
Okay, the subtext is this is not against you, Emmanuel Macron. Sorry, this is collateral. Okay, you're just part of collateral damage. Okay, right. Because what you sanction us and you expect us to take it sitting down? No, we're a sovereign country. We have our interests. We have our strengths. Okay, we've just proven it. We can hit you where it really hurts.
Right. Exactly. I mean, they already did that in 2014. They're saying, "Oh, we're not going to take all these expensive soft cheeses from you." They didn't like that, but this one really hurts them because it's such a brand name. It is so famous, makes France so famous throughout the world. And particularly with that Sovietsky Champansky, which is really not on the same quality, but to say this alone is allowed to have the name champagne. No, what you call champagne is not champagne.
On a much smaller, less luxury scale, obviously. But look at the case of Poland. Poland has a good reputation for cold cuts, sausages and all. It's actually quite good. They do a really good job. I lived there. I really liked it a lot. And believe it or not, apples. Polish apples are very, very good. And so they were, they got into the sanction game, and they were cheering along. And then the Russians said, "No more cold cuts for you. No more apples for you." And really, I mean, they went into a state of shock. You said, "Whoa, oh, you can't." Well, yes, we can do it.
Right. Yeah.
And another thing, and a very strong message to the European Union, is that wines, fruits, vegetables, all kinds of. Russia already has new supply chains. Right. Africa, Latin America. I remember a few years ago, I was at an OSCE meeting representing Russia. I was very proud of that. And it was in Vienna. And the Viennese people came up to me, recognized me. And they said, we need trade with Russia. I mean, we're a lot of people don't know, we're a dairy country. We do dairy, okay? We're big in dairy. And you're a big market for us.
Yeah.
And they said, we don't care about Crimea. We care about dairy, okay? No, I'm serious. I was sitting in a hotel, right, and people came up, recognized me, and they said, we just want you to know,
right,
that these politicians, and it's the German. They kept saying it's the Germans doing this. I didn't get involved in that, right, but right. The thing is that the sanctions of. I mean, if you look at the numbers, the sanctions have hurt European businesses far more than Russian, almost 2 to 1.
Yeah. No, that's right. And that's the whole point. I mean, this sanctions policy is one that is just suicidal. I mean, if you're depending upon a market, the Russian market, particularly for agricultural produce,
it's the biggest market in Europe.
Yeah, it's a big market, and then you come along, and then the governments impose sanctions over something that what the hell the French farmers or French wine producers care about Crimea. I mean, it's of no importance to them. So you come along, you always Josep Borrell, who impose these sanctions. Now, so then you go, so in what way are these governments doing anything to protect their own people? In other words, your own producers, the people trying to make a living, you're doing nothing to protect them. You're actually throwing them under the bus because now they're going to be, they're subject to retaliation, even though they themselves have done nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. So, I mean, how can the French political elite this evening, as you and I are speaking, sit down and have a glass of champagne during their meal? I mean, they just screwed their own people with their own
Right.
policies, which, of course, they don't. This is always the case with neoliberalism. The people that push these ridiculous ideas are almost never harmed by them. I
Right.
suppose they can buy champagne from Champagne locally, okay.
Right.
But they because of their reckless and even juvenile behavior, they're damaging one of their country's most important global brands. I mean, like BMW or Mont Blanc pen, iPhone. I mean, there's such a few
Right.
that are so iconic.
It is iconic, and as I say, it's been around for centuries. I mean, it's like it was famous before any of these other things like iPhones or anything else. And so, so the danger also for the champagne producers is that other countries might do this, and then they think, well, this say, we don't like being imposed sanctions from the EU, so we're gonna say, no, I don't want you calling this champagne. This what we call champagne, that's what champagne, or Roquefort cheese. I don't like the name Roquefort cheese. We're gonna change all that. All of these brands that you guard jealously. I mean, they fight ferociously, and then just like that, with the will o' the wisp just disappears. But we're just gonna call what we produce champagne. And you champagne producers, don't you dare call what you do champagne.
If you live in a glass house, George, don't throw stones. That's exactly the message. That's the message right now.
Right. And I mean, and I think that's it. And I think it's such an aggressive step by saying that the champagne is not allowed to be called champagne. It's bad enough that you call what you produce champagne, but they say, no, you cannot call what you do.
Well, I mean, from what I remember, I mean, I'm a beer guy myself. I do like champagne though, but their local version they still call it Sovietsky Shampanska.
Yes.
It's still Soviet. Okay. Yes. I was startled when I first moved. I actually still call it this, not Russian champagne, but you call it Soviet. And it's a brand, and people know it. They know the brand. Okay.
Yeah, and it's quite popular in Hungary as well. The Sovietsky Shampanske. Yeah, that absolutely. And I think that the government is promoting this. I mean, I think that in Crimea, I think they're working on really getting high quality champagne produced in Crimea, which is going to be the Soviet.
You know what? Maybe they could have Victoria Nuland as a tester. What do you think, Victoria? You like French, Russian, or Crimeans new on the block here. Maybe you could come and be part of some tasting competition. Right.
Yeah,
that in mind, Victoria Nuland. It's in Russia's hands because of you.
Yes, yeah. I know it's just an amazing thing, that EU shoots itself in the foot, and I suspect there's going to be other things that they're going to do. I mean, in other words, you keep going on the sanctions path, and there's going to be other products that they're going to say, nope, you can't call yourself that anymore.
Mark my words, everyone. The champagne thing is not over. This is not over. No way is this over. Okay. Do you think the champagne? Another brand that goes around the world with a fine-tooth comb. It's Disney. Disney has a whole division of people. No counterfeits. Nothing. They're really rigid about it. Okay. Right. So I mean, we could change the name of Mickey Mouse. And nothing you can do about it. Don't throw stones, guys. Just don't do it, okay?
No. Sanctions it's a stupid thing. You don't change government policy thereby, and you hurt your own people. And government's Borrell is supposed to be protecting the producers in the European Union. Instead,
what do you bet the champagne cabal gets involved in the election in France? Okay, they got some deep. They got deep pockets. They got deep pockets.
They do have deep pockets. They have serious financial power. Yeah, that's exactly.
And if necessary, they've got some big guys with leather coats.
Yeah.
Say no more. I say no more. Okay, everybody. we're on Locals, so go to thegaggle.locals.com. George and I are doing one-on-one Zoom calls with people. It's really turning into a lot of fun, and we really enjoy it. Drop us a line, and we can arrange it. Keep in mind the hour differences, because not everybody always understands that. We also have a tip jar, the Buddy tip jar. Any kind of support you can throw our way is really deeply appreciated. Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. And we love having these conversations with fellow gagglers. We enjoy sharing our perspectives and commiserating or whatever. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. Any support you can provide, it helps us enormously, makes our product that much better. We are also on Rumble. Look us up there. And remember, if you like the gaggle, please like, share, and subscribe. See you soon. Bye.